Bruno Mars and B.O.B., that's Nothing on You. My guest of the day is an actor, director, producer, and rugby player.
94.3.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
One of my favorite people who is, logged in right now, not just because of his high intellect, but also his great entertainment value. Love Rahul Bose. Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, Hrishi, how are you doing?
I know, there are two sides to Rahul Bose. I mean, one is the camera comes on and then he can be whatever you want him to be, and then there's him behind the camera as a director, and then there is you at home. And whenever I met you personally, I found a certain amount of stillness in you. Some of us have a little, some of us have a lot more. So no disrespect to what's happening outside, these are very trying times, but I think you would have taken to the lockdown pretty easily.
You know me really well. Yeah, because, ordinarily on any ordinary day prior to COVID-19, I would get up in the morning, I would go to the Bombay Gymkhana ground, I would train for about 2.5 hours alone, very methodically. I have a shower, have an omelette, a pomegranate juice alone, drive back. Then I would go to my foundation and work with the team, which I'm doing virtually. And, and then come the evening, it would be time for the cinema part of the life, which is I'm writing a script so that I would do alone. So social distancing or physical distancing is not a problem at all. You know me only too well. What I really do miss is having the sun on my back, Hrishi. I love the sun. I train at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, in the sun, in this weather. It's never bothered me. I really miss having the sun on my back because for the last 50 days, I haven't even left my building, not the compound. I haven't even left the building. So the building has cars parked below and that's it. I haven't even stepped out into the compound. I don't want people to get worried. If the other people want to break rules, that's fine. But I've just been imposing that strictly on myself for others. And that's what I miss. Otherwise, the rest of it is easy.
Well, solitude in the Bombay gym, you're a lucky man. An incident that happened with me, I'm not even a member, as a reciprocal member, because I grew up in Calcutta, went to La Martiniere for boys, and because we're members of the Saturday club, I tried to use the Bombay gym on one occasion, and I met Brocha and Vijayakar in the foyer, and quietude and loneliness is what I wanted. You don't get that with Brocha. And Vijayakar's still okay. So those are threats in the Bombay gym, Rahul. Those are active threats.
Well, you need the yin and the yang. So that, so otherwise, can you imagine if everybody was like me at the Bombay gym? It would be like a mausoleum.
Never a dull moment when Rahul Bose is around. More conversation up ahead, something to look forward to. Yes, Bastille in the music department, it's Pompeii. Only on 94.3 Radio 1 One World, your station. My name is Hrishi K. Kygo and Whitney Houston, that's Stevie Winwood's Higher Love redone in a delightful manner. Rahul Bose is my guest of the day, one of those actors who has a huge social conscience. That's one way to describe Rahul.
94.3.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
I'm very concerned, and so are you, about the United Nations has gone on record to say this, that domestic violence numbers have gone up during the lockdown. I mean, people are spending increasing amount of time at home. And what you're doing with the Akshara Center, I'd like you to just talk about that.
You're dead right. Across the world, there has been a perverse spike in domestic violence in a time of calamity. But that happens all the time. This is one of the, I suppose, almost permanent cruelties of human behavior, that whenever there has been a natural or a man-made calamity. I remember going to the Andamans during the tsunami in 2004, and there were reports of molestation of women that had been left destitute because overnight you lose your home and you lose your family. And even if she was a fierce, working, independent woman without any kind of infrastructure around her, which is human infrastructure or physical infrastructure, physical safety becomes a problem. And then it becomes an issue of, you're roaming the streets without a house and without people around you who care for you, because sadly they've passed away or been washed away by the tsunami in that case. And you're prey. So it's, what kind of human being would choose to attack a woman who is down and out at that point of time? Shows you the infinite possibilities of human cruelty in this world. However, coming back to this particular instance, domestic violence has spiked. Men are locked down at home. So frustration levels rise. And I'm talking about across the world, not just here. The ones who used to beat are beating more often. The ones who never used to beat are now beginning to discover the pleasures of taking off their frustrations on the women of the house. There is no data as yet, Hrishi. There are no numbers as yet. But definitely it is anecdotally on the rise. Women's mobile phones are being confiscated. Their batteries are being taken out of their mobile phones. the idea of a woman having time to step out, in any case, was anathema to so many orthodox, patriarchy-bound men. So it's a perfect excuse for them to keep them further bound down. So Akshara recognized the problem, and they were collaborating with many other organizations. And they've also been working with the Special Services for Women and Children, which mans the helplines normally. And so they said, we would like very much to create a campaign that would highlight this. I said, look, right now the only option you have is an online campaign. They said, yeah, that's absolutely perfect. So they got together with their friends and my friends at Every Media. This is not a plug for them. They're a social media company. They worked with me and Purna. They're working with Akshara on this, as well as a few earlier projects with Akshara. And they came up with a script. And at that point, I said, okay, how can I contribute? So I spoke to Mr. Aditya Thackeray at the government of Maharashtra. And he's bright, he's dynamic, and he understands. So he totally backed the campaign. Now that's what we needed.
Wonderful to know. Up ahead, how Rahul Bose has made this a movement of sorts across the state. Domestic violence and how to combat it is what we're talking about. Here's Katy Perry with Smile. Right here on 94.3 Radio 1 One World, your station. I'm Hrishi K. Florida and David Guetta, a club anthem called Club Can't Handle Me. Rahul Bose, the actor, is supporting the hashtag Lockdown on Domestic Violence with the not-for-profit Akshara Center. More on the cause.
94.3
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
Radio 1.
So Rahul, you said the objective is to ensure citizens raise their voice against the brutality taking place in their houses during lockdown. And you got Aditya Thackeray involved, right?
We needed the government of Maharashtra to get behind the campaign and the Maharashtra police to get. So we could give across Maharashtra. We wouldn't give different names, numbers for Sangli, helpline numbers for Satara or for any other place. We could just say, give them the 100 number, which is terrific because it certainly makes it much more convenient for women in distress. So that was, I think, a little contribution I made. And then we worked with Mr. Aditya Thackeray and Priyanka Chaturvedi in government to actually, work and see how this could be supported by the government of Maharashtra. The chief minister was behind it. He was the first person who tweeted the first film we made. Then it came down to making the films. And we had very, very clearly understood that this film would have to run in Marathi. And yes, in Hindi for a few people who didn't understand the local language. And in English, not for people who didn't understand Marathi or Hindi in this state, because there are very few who don't. But there are people from, the southern states who would not understand either language, fully understand and accept that. But also that this campaign could go online internationally. And online has no borders. So if somebody in Germany is facing this problem, a mayor of some city, and sees something coming out from the government of Maharashtra and India, it's an easily replicable idea that they could easily do. So that was one of the big thrusts of the English campaign. Second, the thing that I could contribute at was, okay, now who do we get on board? So we have 18 celebrities on board, a different bunch for Marathi, because, there are people like Shreyas Talpade who have an audience, or like Sonali Kulkarni. And then, of course, there are some personalities who span all three languages, like Madhuri Dixit, who spoke in English and spoke in Marathi and spoke in Hindi for all three versions of the video. And of course, then you had more high-octane personalities, Karan Johar, Farhan Akhtar, Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Anushka Sharma. Just the point being that in 24 hours, Hrishi, all of them had recorded the script of the video on their phones and sent it to us. Then I got so my contribution was with the government, with getting people on board to do this and cutting the videos, making sure that the social media team did a wonderful job, and I just worked a little bit to keep fine-tuning. From day one, when we started with the idea of should we do something, I would say day 14, we had finished the campaign and it was out. So we had to work pretty hard, especially towards the end, cutting logos, hashtags, all of that stuff. But today it has garnered about over 5.5, maybe close to 6 million views, which is not small. If it's not a Hindi movie product or if it's not a cricket product, it's a pretty large number. You would know that. And the calls have started coming in. Now, I think we are on day 7 of the campaign breaking. We will be in a position very soon, maybe in another week, to see the numbers coming in. And the numbers can tell us two very different tales. If there are very few phone calls, you can say, there's no domestic violence. That's just you guys have raised a unnecessary bogey. But it could also mean that women are not being able to call. And that's why there's such few numbers. So we're going to have to examine qualitatively the data also. But quantitatively is the first step. So I'm just trying to close the loop on this whole thing and make sure that it just doesn't become something that we did and we pat ourselves on the back, but something that should actually, anything that one does in the non-profit sector, if it doesn't reduce pain in this world, I think it's useless.
Well said. Rahul Bose feeling passionately about the increase in domestic violence during lockdown. My name is Hrishi K, and we'll chat some more up ahead, but only after I play you some Jamelia and Superstar on 94.3 Radio 1 One World, your station. Katy Perry and Juicy J, that's the mammoth hit Dark Horse. Rahul Bose is talking to me today about his social causes, and he's the founder of an NGO called The Foundation, an NGO devoted to the removal of discrimination from all walks of life. And now his support to the Akshara Center, asking women to take a stand against abusers and perpetrators of gender-based crimes. My interview with the actor continues.
94.3
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
Radio 1.
What drives you to do what you're doing? I mean, there are very few people in the public eye. You know, yourself, Dia Mirza. You guys could just act, go home, make movies, exercise, have a good time, and go off to bed every night. But I see your work previously with the foundation, now with the Akshara Center. And even when one follows you in social media, and I do that across the board, one sees an appeal to donate to the Lawrence School of Sanar and their initiative and things like that. So it looks to me that wherever you can, you try and mobilize support for initiatives. Why so, Rahul?
On a very fundamental level, I can't brook seeing people in pain. I just can't. Something inside me breaks, Can't see it. It's just, selfishly, it makes me happy if I can do something. I do understand that I shouldn't be scattering myself in about 15 different directions, which I don't. I work with the foundation, which we work on equalizing opportunity through education of kids, that, and on child sexual abuse with the other NGO, which is called HEAL. But generally, if there is a migrant laborer whose 12-year-old child has died 10 kilometers from her home, it sounds very entitled, but, her pain is felt by everyone. All of us have a conscience. I have to believe that. All of us have a conscience, and some more dead than others. But that pain transmits across the world. The concept which is Vedas, which Steinbeck talks about in Grapes of Wrath, about the world soul. I really do believe that. And I experience that. I'm not saying that I'm crippled and I'm felled every day, but, it is an instinctive response.
So how are you handling this particular phase? Do you go out and do runs for groceries and essentials once a week or twice a week? Or is it home delivered in the building downstairs and you go down and bring it up and sanitize? Talk to me about getting the essentials.
This is very funny. It's very funny because I'll tell you why. So you see, after rugby, grocery shopping is the most dangerous activity I've indulged in because I've never done it, right? So I have, of course now I don't, but I have somebody who cooks for me or somebody who comes and cleans. And so the groceries are done. So after about 3 or 4 weeks, and I don't cook, so I don't need, it's a surprise for me to see potatoes and onions in a drawer because I normally expect to see, clothes or toys that are of dubious nature or something like that. But there I am opening this drawer and I find onions. And I do admit that there are things that I know very well and there are some things I don't know at all. So it came for the time to do grocery shopping. So, okay, I looked and had a look at the washing machine powder and the dishwashing liquid. And, I wanted some shower gel and sanitizer. Stuff like that, toothpaste and stuff. So I made a list of about 10, 11 things. And we are in the most lockdown of lockdown areas in India. You know that. The red zone is Bombay. And the reddest of red zones in Bombay is Prabhadevi, Worli, Kojiwada, which is G South. And that's where I live. So we can't go anywhere. We've been told to give it to the watchman and then he will, go to the nearby grocery store and they will give us the stuff. I said, fine. So I wrote it all down on a piece of paper. And in the body shower gel, I wrote shower gel. And I knew it wouldn't be available because, it's times of scarcity. / I wrote Lux / Synthol / Pears / now any 5-6 names that I could think of. Whatever you have out of this. And I'm going to send you this photograph which you can put on the show later on. And he comes back and he shows me the chit and the grocer has, with a red pen, as if he's a teacher, has crossed out all the things not available. This liquid not available, this dishwashing not available, this juice not available. And he puts a tick at shower gel. Only. Out of 11 items, shower gel is tick. But the watchman gives me a bag groaning with weight and he says it costs 1,200 rupees.
Shower gel.
Maybe I'm totally disconnected from the world. Maybe this is the price of it nowadays. And I open the bag and there are 18 bars of soap.
Mamma mia.
He has the slash. He has
interpreted it as
ampersand. And so he's been so compassionate. He's looked for buy 4 get 1 free, Synthol. Buy 4 get 1 free Lux. Buy 4 Dove get 2 loofahs free. So I have 18 soaps. That's all I have. I have nothing else. I have to brush my teeth with them. I have to wash the dishes with them. I have to, cut them up and have them for dessert. I just have 18 soaps for 1,200 rupees sitting in my hand.
That is
so grocery shopping is very, very dangerous. I've begun to look at it. I have to prepare myself for what happens, Or maybe the grocer is one of those guys like you with a wicked sense of humor. He's like, इसने slash कहा है ना, सारा जो मेरा stock है, जो 2015 का stock है, पूरा उसको दे देता हूँ.
उसको दे देता हूँ.
18 soaps, one guy.
That is hilarious. Conversations with Rahul Bose are witty as they are sensitive. Stay with us. It's Mabel with Boyfriend on the playlist. I'm Hrishi K, and you're tuned into 94.3 Radio on One World, your station. Nickelback with Rockstar. Rahul Bose is definitely a rock star. He's talking to me about his beliefs and his life in lockdown.
94.3
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
Radio 1.
So do you have a domestic help who lives with you and cooks for you, or are you trying your hands at basic stuff? So what are you doing for food?
Oh, I order in. I've been ordering in for the last 50 days. It's dropped to the head of the lane and then watchman comes and gloves and wash hands and takeout and bartan and all that stuff. Yes, I have nobody to help in the house. I've never had anyone permanently. I would never brook that. Even if I had a palatial mansion, I would just not like that. I like to have my privacy. But of course I don't. I have a house that people say is smaller than my car. And I have also given both my domestic help the next 6 months off because I'm like, you should just, you live in Worli Koliwara. So I don't want you to put yourself in danger, to put not just me, but everybody else. So just let it go, relax, chill out. We'll talk about this when this thing sorts itself out. I had this one post on Instagram where I made a roti, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
So just like the bananas post, the idiocy of people on social media is to be marveled at. Because they thought the bananas post, I had a problem because it was 442
rupees for 2 bananas.
My problem was that if the banana is free in the room, see, if you have a cola drink in a 5-star hotel, it's going to cost you $600, whether it's in the restaurant or the room. But if the banana is free in the room, why is it charged 2 floors down to the gym? There are many other problems, but that's the problem. Apart from that, you will charge me for a fruit platter. Give me the platter. Give me the kiwi fruit and give me 2-3 pieces of tarboos and give me, pineapple and all that stuff, right? Similarly, the Thorat family, which is the mother's side, the Maratha side. So they have all this cooking and, we're going to be making this and this mutton and this missile and this and that. And I'm like, listen, why don't you guys, share your stuff with me? They're like, you don't cook. So there's this kind of a scorn that was happening. So it got under my skin. So I said, okay, I will make what you can't make. They're like, thing that we can't make, a few of us, is roti. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'm not going to go to base camp or camp 1, camp 2, camp 3. I'm going straight for the southeast. I know nothing. I'm going to wear my rubber chappals, my Hawaiian shirt, my Bermudas and go to the summit. Straight. So that's when I made it. And I took no one's help. I found the atta. It took me about 2-3 days to find the atta. I found the atta. Water, I knew where it was. The whole proportion, kneading, working the tricep in, looking at the fingers, and scientifically making sure that it's level. And, and then the balan, I didn't know what to call the base. So I'm calling up my domestic help. I'm asking her. So she's like, sir, are you starving? I can send you rotis. I'm like, no, just relax. I have to do this. I have to do this. I've got my oxygen mask on. I have to do this. I'm going to do this. So that's when I did it. Now, as I told you, the idiocy of social media, he's starving. He's making his own rotis. People are sending me caterers' numbers. People are saying that my grandmothers, great aunts, nieces, closest buddies, mechanics, fathers, daughters, school principals, grandmothers, illegitimate child is next to you. And he can make rotis. Please. It's not that. I was done. So now my next plan is I am going to make a video of me stitching a mask. So my first post was #roti. This will be #roti kapda.
Where's
And
the
the next one, I'm going to put some fox nuts in the microwave, which become big. And I'm going to go #roti kapda makhana.
That sense of humor will keep it going for us during the lockdown. And I see the building staircase is being made very good use of. Speaking of climbing summit,
The residents are like just easy there because it takes me 2.5 hours here.
I'm sure.
205 floors, Rishi. It's a 6-floor building. Yeah. I have to go up 34 times. It's something else. It's another mad kind of meditation. But, what do? I have resolved that I'm going to come out of this lockdown fitter than I was ever and demoralize everybody in Bombay. No, well, that's a joke. But, my house is the size of a pocket handkerchief. I train on my yoga mat and I can do 80 to 85 exercises on it. But it's still not the same. You still need to move your body. So it's a great exercise, but it requires fortitude and a little bit of madness.
Fortitude and a little bit of madness. I'm going to hang on to that. Rahul Bose dispensing some wisdom and some fun there. Back to the music. You're Sonique with It Feels So Good on 94.3 Radio 1 One World, your station. My name is Hrishi K. Deep Blue Something with such an awesome song. That's Breakfast at Tiffany's. Rahul Bose is a superstar of Indian art house cinema. Look at the filmography. Dil Dhadakne Do, Chain Kuli Ki Main Kuli, Mr. and Mrs. Iyer, Kal Purush, Chameli, The Japanese Wife, English August, and most recently Purna and Bulbul. He's been in a wonderful conversation with me on Life in Lockdown.
94.3
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
Radio 1.
So I know you're a voracious reader. You've been putting up some books that you've been reading. So just something to add to our reading list. Books or writers that you've read very recently in this phase who have really influenced you.
I haven't read anybody's work that I don't like. But in terms of there's some books that you like, Hrishi, and there are some writers that you like.
Sure.
So, Andre Agassi is not a writer, right? But his book is
But Open is fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would, if you ask me to recommend writers, I've just finished Vibhuti Bhushan Bandyopadhyay. He's a Bengali writer. I can't read Bengali. One of my father's everlasting regrets before he passed away. I'm not saying that he whispered those words as he was passing away, but I'm just saying that, that it was one of his regrets. And I read the English translation of Pothir Panchali, which was more famous as the film that we made. So out of the Bengali, Sunil Gangopadhyay, I think, Vibhuti Bhushan, these are wonderful, wonderful writers. Of course, the gang of wonderful Indian writers that I love to read, Salman Rushdie, Amitabh Ghosh, Arundhati Roy. But out of the new stuff, let me think about this. The Mahabharata by Ramesh Menon, this one that I read, and I read that 10 years ago. It's in 2 volumes. I would recommend that blindly to anyone. It is thrilling. It is nuanced. It is so evocative. It is so relatable. It's written with such a sense of the human condition, the problems people face that sounds so contemporary. It's really, really a wonderful translation, a wonderful transliteration maybe, because there's also a lot of the writer that comes in. The parts that he decides not to keep in, he says, look, and then this happens, I'm fast forwarding to this. 2 volumes, Ramesh Menon's Mahabharata. I really, really enjoyed that. So looking at my bookshelf now, it was a kind of a trip down memory lane for me to go back and see a few of these things. What I do want to read from is Ruskin Bond, which I haven't done till now. But Ruskin is, apart from being one of my favorite people, he's just a lovely, gentle writer. There's so much unsaid in Ruskin Bond's writing. And then I rediscovered Jhumpa Lahiri, of course, read all her stuff, every word that she's written till now. But I was reading The Unaccustomed Earth, and I went back and read 2 more stories after I finished my reading. Because talking about leaving the unsaid hanging, that is Jhumpa Lahiri. It's so beautiful to feel the weight of the interiority and the thoughts that people are thinking about. The father who's looking at his daughter and wondering where the years went by and why he doesn't know her better. Stuff like that. Just so beautiful. My God, this sounds very Bengali skewed, but I don't mean to be Amitabh Ghosh and Jhumpa and Bandyopadhyay.
But why not? There's such wonderful writers.
But on the international, there's always Murakami, there's always Marquez, and all of that. So out of the new stuff, I've been reading Ram Guha's India After Gandhi. Ram, of course, is always engaging and always a kindred soul. So that's wonderful.
Now we've got enough super reads to last us through the next phase of lockdown or semi-lockdown. Thank you, Rahul Bose. Listen, I'm afraid time's run out on my interview of the day section, but this one's too good to be true, so we are going to do a part 2 with Rahul Bose tomorrow. Make sure you come back for that. It shall not be short on excitement, of that I'm certain. For now, here's the band We the Kings to keep you company. A song called Heaven Can Wait. You're tuned into 94.3 Radio 1, One World, your station. And I'm Hrishi K. Train with Drive By. It's part 2 of the Rahul Bose interview. He's really one of the opinion makers in the business, considering he acts, directs, produces. Time to get an industry perspective from him in these trying times.
94.3
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
Radio 1.
OTT consumption has gone through the roof, obviously, and now one doesn't know what's going to happen, what the new normal is going to be. It's very easy for production people on a set, directors, assistants, cinematographers to wear their masks and get on set. But the actors have got to be in frame, and they can't possibly be wearing PPEs unless the role demands it. So these are trying times for the industry. Were you working on any OTT projects before the lockdown? And what phase were they in those projects?
I can't talk about that. I can tell you what I have worked on. I've done a series called Bahubali Before the Beginning with Netflix, and that's an ongoing project. But when it releases, it's entirely up to them. I have finished a film for the OTT platform for Netflix again, made by Clean Slate Films. That's Karnesh Sharma. Anushka and Karnesh Sharma have had their plan, and Anvita Dutt has directed that. I'm really looking forward to that. So I actually had the busiest acting year in 2019 after Dil Dhadakne Do in 2014-15.
Oh.
So, yeah, and because I made Purna in between. 15, 16, 17 went into Purna. 18, I was writing a new script, and then 19, I began to work. Towards the end of 18, I began to work. So I've been working for a year now, more than a year. It's like when TV happened after cinema. It's unleashed an amazing amount of energy. Of course, there will be a lot of mediocrity that will turn up first.
Sure.
And then slowly the sieving will start. The budgets will be more rationalized. People will be, more careful as to what's being written and things. Fine, fair enough. So I've said no to about 60, 70 the OTT offers, Hrishi. I've just tentatively accepted a new one, which will be very interesting. I haven't done anything in my life before, so that'll be a very, very interesting project. And I am also presently writing my next script, whether it's for OTT or for the cinema screen. I don't even care till such time as it's actually done. So very exciting. I mean, I'm happy to be, my acting career could now run for the next 10, 15 years effortlessly if I let it. And so I'm happy to do that. But I want to be perceived as a director who is also hopefully a decent actor. And so I want to make my next film nothing for the next 18 months, Rishi. Nobody, not even science, knows what's going to happen.
Till we get that vaccine out.
So when you get a vaccine and Rishi has COVID, I'm vaccinated, right? So I'm going to get on to set. But if you're a producer and you want to start something right now and you're waiting for your zone, that green zone, and you put up a set at Mehboob and you start shooting and you COVID-19 test everyone every week. Forget every month. Every week they are tested. And there are masks and gloves, disposable lunch boxes to be thrown away when consumed, disposable little packets of water to be thrown away when consumed. Everybody has their own mask. Actors carry their own makeup kits. Everybody's wearing gloves. I get it. You get it. But if somebody gets COVID on that set, everybody will have to be quarantined. So I've just spent 2 crores raising a set. And then you're telling me that I have to shut down for 3 weeks? What's the standing cost of my money? What about the set? What about the fact that maybe Mehboob is giving it to somebody else after this? Such a risk. In the cold light of theory, nothing should happen for 18 months. In practice, it will be very different. Everybody will go back. Everybody will shoot. The momentum of living, of making yourself useful, of getting money, putting food on the table, of taking a risk, all of that will kick in. But God forbid it happens. And listen, I mean, it's 20,000 people per square kilometer in this city.
Yeah.
So if you've covered 1,000 people in an area which is a slum, and there are 2 lakh people living in that slum, how long do you think it will take for that virus to go through the slum, or for everybody to get herd immunity, which I think is the real mirage? But if it happens, I mean, it'll take a year. It'll take a year and a half. By then you have a vaccine. So it's a very, theoretically, it is nothing makes sense. It doesn't, a scientist would say this doesn't make sense. That you're putting 60 people into contact with each other and hoping that nothing will happen for a month. On the flip side, Rishi, what I feel will really thrive right now are the online content with one person. So Hrishikesh Kannan takes his recorder and says, I am going to record the reactions to COVID-19 from India. So he gets on to like a sumo, drives across the country with one cameraman, one sound guy, one help, 5 of you. Okay, COVID ho to we can lock down 5 of you. And my money 10 lakhs is locked down. So that's what he does. I'm in Karnataka, I'm in the Northeast, I'm here. Or for that matter, cookery, or for that matter, fashion. That stuff, lean, nimble, 5 or 6 people going out there, creating content, coming back. The downside is very low. The rest of it, grim. I mean, everything will start. Make no mistake about it. But I think that scientifically, it's grim.
Grim is the word, and yes, we've got to be nimble and think out of the box as content creators. Rahul Bose in an animated discussion with me, a last leg still to come. I'm Hrishi K, and here's the band Gorillas with Feel Good Incorporated. Only on 94.3 Radio 1 One World, your station. Despacito by the Latin music king Luis Fonsi. Rahul Bose is in conversation with me, the actor, producer, rugby player, and activist. Gave me the shocking statistics on domestic violence in lockdown and how he's working with Akshara Center, the NGO, to make sure that women raise their voices on the perpetrators and also have recourse. Now, another facet that Rahul feels deeply about before we sign off.
94.3
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
Radio 1.
I'm going to sign off with an area of concern for me too. It should be for everybody, which is senior citizens. I mean, my dad's 76, my mom's 72. They retired from very flourishing careers in Bombay, and like all good South Indians, retired down south. They live in Whitefield in Bengaluru, and
I thought Matunga, it doesn't.
yeah, it was actually a toss-up. Matunga, Chembur, but then so as a child, you can't reach them. You can't get on the next plane or the next train and go and reach them, and you're constantly worried about their well-being and their safety. Luckily, touch wood, they're doing fine. But there's so many senior citizens out there, whose children are in other cities, even abroad, and you feel very strongly about this. So let's sign off with that, please.
It's clear and present. This lockdown just took them by. It's like a punch in the belly. Because they were just ill-prepared for a world with physical distancing. And it is the cruel irony is that no one really wants to be around elderly people. I mean, come on, Hrishi, put your hand on your heart and say that after 1 hour of listening to your father go on and on about the world in a stream of consciousness, rambling way, you don't get bored, or you have your own work to do. It's happened with me. Of course, both my parents have passed away, but, okay, mom, okay, dad, move on. You know what I mean? So that, in any case, has been the case. But here, technology is what you and I are actually using to cover up all the vacuums left in our lives, correct? Whether it's a fitness video that you're looking at, whether it's yoga that you're doing virtually, whether it's food that you're ordering, all of that stuff, all essentials. So this is like a body blow because they don't know technology. And it's, did you see that video about that old gentleman that the police came and gave a cake to? I think it was somewhere in North India and Haryana. So they ring the bell of this bungalow, and this well-to-do man comes out with a mask, and he sees the police, then he's trying to wave them off. They say no, sir, and they begin to sing happy birthday. And this man starts to cry. And he says, it can't be for me. They said, yes, we know it's your birthday. He said, how do you know? He says, your children told us. Like Hrishi, his children are far away, and they said to the cops, could you go and give him this cake? Wow. So he's breaking down, and they put a fun birthday cap on him and make him have a bite. And he just can't stop crying. That says it all, you know. I mean, you just need to. It's so easy to see. If someone doesn't see it, their hearts are stone.
Rahul Bose, thanks for your time. And see you soon. Virtual hugs to you.
Same here. Look after yourself. Lots of love. Bye.
Here's Ava Max with Kings and Queens on 94.3 Radio 1 One World, your station. My name is Hrishi K.